On Newsnight tonight, in the next 60 minutes, gunmen unleash chaos, opening fire on civilians at the National Health Insurance Authority office, killing 4 and leaving several others critically injured in Garu in the Upper East region.
In fact, everybody is afraid here. We just dropped a corpse of one of the deceased persons to a village under Boku.
We'll be live to our correspondent on the ground shortly for the latest on this. Also tonight, Ghana's Galamsey water crisis spirals out of control as the menace spreads to more regions, contaminating water sources and crippling more treatment plants, with the Ghana Water Company demanding 300 million cedis to avert a complete collapse of the country's water supply system.
But when you take Berekesi out, the others within about 300 million can undertake it.
We'll hear from the managing director of the Ghana Water Company Limited, who is calling for urgent attention and collaboration to prevent a national disaster.
We seek to co-funding from corporate Ghana and development partners to match Ghana Water Limited investment.
Also tonight, pressure mounts for expedited overhaul of computerized school placement system as government considers setting up a committee to review the system.
So it means that the computerized placement system is not working well for the country, and I'm happy to review it.
We should have a comprehensive overhaul the model of school selection.
We have the latest, plus the frustration of parents and students stranded in long queues attempting to complete enrollment.
So we're expecting that in a short time when we are done, they will attend to us.
So they've not attended to you yet?
Not yet.
Since 5 a.m. and it's almost 5 p.m. now, I still have not been able to fully complete the process. It's so hectic.
And in business, Finance Ministry reaffirms commitment to budget credibility as it engages more stakeholders ahead of the budget presentation in Parliament next month.
And in sports Ministry still yet to settle Black Princesses per diems for last month's FIFA World Cup qualifiers.
You want to stay with us because the National Science and Maths quiz is back after crashing out at the 1/8 stage to Keta SATS in 2024. Kumasi Academy shows up to this year's prelims with unfinished business. We have the latest for you, plus your views on our WhatsApp platform 05511119997. Details after this. You're live, your News 90s on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, a sense of unease has settled over Garu in the Upper East region over news that a deadly incident had indeed broken out at the National Health Insurance Authority office. 4 people have been tragically killed, with several others left injured after unknown gunmen on 2 motorcycles opened fire on civilians, sparking panic and chaos in the unusually quiet town. Now, the motive behind the attack remains unclear. Here's Garu District Chief Executive John Abari confirming the tragic incident on Pulse with Fosina Safo.
In fact, we just dropped a corpse of one of the deceased persons to a village under Boku called Manga. So I'm just from there coming back. In fact, we don't have any arrest or anything from the police yet, because we are just running here and there trying to organize things. But for now, there is no any arrest that has been made yet.
Do we know the number of individuals who are dead so far? My colleague tells me the number may have increased. Is that the situation on the ground?
Yeah, the number that have been confirmed from the hospital as death are 4 currently. And about 4 people too are also injured. But that is, I cannot confirm whether that is all the number or not, because we are just busy moving around, even depositing the corpse to the family. I think I went with my car to under Timpane. One person too was also coming from there. That person is working in the health insurance office in Garu. So together, myself and the police, we send the calls there, and then we also send the calls to Boku, who was a head teacher in one of the primary schools in Garu.
So far, the 4 individuals that are dead, based on what you're telling us, have you released their bodies to their family members?
Yes.
All 4 of them?
Yeah, there are 4 of them. After they were sent to the Presby Hospital in Garu here, and they were confirmed dead.
And how is the situation on the grounds, knowing fully well that these individuals are still on the run, no arrest has been made so far? How are you handling the situation on the ground as the district chief executive?
The situation on the ground is actually confused. Everybody is confused. We don't know where the assailants are coming from. And actually, as they are not even being arrested, everybody is scared. But I can see that there's calm. I can see people around, moving around, but in fact, everybody is afraid here.
I want to bring in my regional correspondent, Abisori. He's been following this closely for us. Also joining me, Bartholomew Asori, who is the assembly member of Garu. That's a particular area where this incident happened today. Albert, thank you for connecting with us on this. We know that at least 4 people were in critical condition. Do we have any further information about their condition tonight?
Yes, Evan. So the injured people are still treated. This afternoon, we picked up reports from some of the residents that one more person may have died from among the injured. That information, we are still looking to confirm it because the DCE said he had also been moving around and had also not heard it at the time that we picked up the information. The residents are worried about the situation. A lot of them feel that these attackers may just still be on the loose and lurking around somewhere. So a lot of them are actually worried about the situation.
We just had the DC that talked to us about calm has returned. You can confirm this?
Yes, so this afternoon, a lot of the residents had gathered at the Garu Presbyterian Hospital where most of the injured and even those who lost their lives were taken to. But after a while, when the bodies were released, a lot of them dispersed back to their homes. So it's only those of them whose relatives are there in the hospital to support them who are still hanging around from the last time we checked. So there's calm, but you get the sense that once these people have not been arrested, even the motive behind why they carried out the attack is still unknown. So people are, scared for their lives.
Albert, thank you very much. And thankfully, we can speak to Bartholomew. He is the assembly member for this particular area where this incident occurred. 4 people already dead, sporadic shooting, people on a motorbike just storming the NHIS office there and opening fire, killing 4 immediately. 4 of them, as we understand now, are in critical condition. Bartholomew, tell me, do we have any idea why this shooting incident happened? Okay, we may have lost him there, but if you are in that part of town and are affected by this, please connect with us. 055-1111-997 is the WhatsApp line, and we'll be getting further details for you because Assemblyman was on the ground and has been there, visited the scene and spoken to people. He has a first-hand appreciation of this incident today when the gentleman on the motorbike just opened fire. We understand 4 confirmed dead, 4 in critical, at least 4 in critical condition as we speak tonight. Bartholomew will join us with the very latest on this. Still live here on News 90s on Joy 99.7 FM. And the Galamsey menace now, because Ghana's Galamsey-induced water crisis is indeed spiraling out of control. And we're learning a bit more from the Ghana Water Company itself. What began as a challenge in parts of the central region has extended to the Ashanti, Eastern and Western regions, where treatment plants are struggling to operate due to the siltation of the water sources there. The Ghana Water Company itself, they've been addressing a news conference. The managing director of the company, Adam Watawakilu, says they now urgently need 300 million cedis to secure the plants and treat the water.
Energy-wise, abrasion pumps pushes pumps outside their efficient operating range. So we burn more power to move less water. The waste heat system include Eastern region, Enyinam, Kidi, Osino, and Akimoda on the Brim River, then in Sawam on the Densu. Central and Western regions, we have Dabuasi, Sejrehiman on the Pra River, and Bonsa on the Bonsa River, Kwanyaku on the Ayensu River. In our central region, we have Odaso on the Oda River, Konongu on the Anum River, and Berekesi on the Ofin River. If you refer to published figures from the Ministry of Works, Housing, and Water Resources, a cubic feet is averaging about 150 Ghana cedis. To dissolve 1 cubic feet is averaging around 150 Ghana cedis. So the budget is huge. But when you take Berekesi out, the others within about 300 million can undertake it.
Well, he adds the failure to implement the recovery plan immediately could cripple the sustainable water treatment.
Let me state this plainly. Ghana Water Limited is a tariff-regulated utility. We cannot immediately pass certain costs that surges to consumers, nor do we wish to. Affordability matters. But the gap between regulated revenue and siltation-driven costs stretches the company beyond reasonable limits, and if left unaddressed, threatens the sustainability of our mandate to deliver safe, reliable water.
Well, Mr. Mutawakilu, however, dismisses calls for the president to impose a state of emergency in the worst affected areas.
If you declare state of emergency in one area, they will migrate to another area. So at the end of the day, the whole Ghana will be in the state of emergency. It's what measures can we put in place for it to be sustained? Is state of emergency going to be there forever? That is the question we must ask. You declare state of emergency, so for how many years? Will the people continue the day you lift the state of emergency? Will they go back? We can't have state of emergency forever. So there must be pragmatic measures, as the President Mama had put it, to make sure that we put in measures to sustain it, and that will be sustained forever.
My colleague Fatal was at the news conference, joins us in the studio right now. Fatal, what's this plan that the water company is talking about?
Evans, the company calls it the 24-month catchment recovery plan. It says the initiative seeks to collaborate with key stakeholders to protect and desilt around air treatment plants. According to the managing director, they intend to raise funds and logistics support from partner institutions such as the Water Resources Commission, Gold Board, District and Municipal Assemblies, Environmental Protection Authority, corporate bodies, and others to collectively tackle this challenge.
They are talking about 300 million cedis. That's what they need to secure the plants and also treat the water to purify it.
Yeah.
What exactly are they going to use the 300 million for? What approach are they adopting? There's been controversy recently about dechemicalization or decontamination and using nanotechnology. What is the Ghana Water Company use the 300 million for?
Evans, the managing director explains that the 300 million Ghana cedis will support what he calls an upstream solution, focusing on 8 priority river bodies that feed their treatment plants. The funds, he said, will go into dredging around affected plants, stabilizing riverbanks, and revegetating degraded catchment areas. We can take a listen to him.
Our proposal, that is the way forward. We propose an upstream solution, a joint 24-month catchment recovery plan focused on 8 priority river bodies feeding our plants. The plan combines riverbank stabilization and revegetation at erosion hotspots targeted, survey-led dredging around intake channels, and coordinated land use compliance and community engagement to protect repairing buffers. Why this makes financial sense? Targeted upstream will restore abstraction capacity, reduce treatment challenges, lower specific energy per cubic meter, and extend asset life by cutting abrasive wear. In simple terms, we convert recurring emergencies into planned, high-yield intervention that stabilize production and bend the unit cost curve. We see to co-funding from corporate Ghana and development partners to match Ghana Water Limited investment. Closer collaboration with district assemblies, the Water Resources Commission, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Minerals Commission, the Ghana Gold Board, and National Security to align enforcement and protect buffer zones, deeper community engagement through traditional authorities, and in-kind support finances, materials. So we need their support either in kind or finances, materials, equipment, and logistics assigned to specific rivers.
Well, Adam Mutawakilu heads the Ghana Water Company. I want to hear from you on this 055-11-11997. Pressure is tonight mounting for an expedited overhaul of the computerized school placement system following widespread challenges endured by parents and students. Now, many struggle to access or process their information on the platform, leading to long queues and frustration at help centers. Now, this comes on the day the Education Minister, Haruna Idrisu, admitted that the system is not working as it should, revealing that a lot will now have to be done to fix a problem. He says that the government is going to be setting up a committee that would see a review. He announced this while visiting Presec Legon today.
Corrected. Maybe it is part of the committee that I've asked them to review the CSPS. So once they review and give me their recommendation, but they should give me a model which is practically better than what we are doing now. We are ready to change it, but change it for what? You don't want to change it into something that will mess all of us up. Change it for the better. But we should review the computerized placement system. It's not fair at all. It's not fair.
Why, Honorable? Why is it not fair?
A student gets aggregate 6. His first choice is science. He is thrown to read business and not even admitted to his school of first choice. There must be something wrong if you are measuring it purely on merit. Then
so that is Haruna Idrisu there talking to us about the plan to review the computerized placement system. But this is not the first time the Education Ministry is attempting a review of the system. Under the previous administration, the abuse of the process itself, the corruption of it, was a subject of a review. My colleague Caleb Ziblim joins me in the studio with details of this. Let's begin with the key findings of that committee.
Yes, Evan. So like you said, in 2021, because of some allegations of bribery and then the system not placing students where they deserve to be, the Education Ministry set up a 6-member committee and they investigated for 10 weeks. So a 6-member committee had 10 weeks of investigations. And then when they came out with their findings, they said, and I quote, "There has not been any system audits of the software deployed to determine whether there are weaknesses in the system and controls that needed to be put in place to curtail the risk identified." Also, they say the annual placement is shrouded in secrecy and not transparent. So these are the words of the committee from 2021.
And that is really at the heart of the frustration of parents. It's so not transparent. You cannot determine how exactly your child is being placed. And as the minister just touched on, you have made a selection. You're hoping that that indeed will reflect, and it's not reflected. Your course is not even given to you. And so that affects your child's own ambitions. If indeed the child has settled to do a particular course but was given something completely different. What recommendations did they put forward? Because they definitely told us something as to what the ministry should do.
So the 6-member committee in 2021 had 6 recommendations to the government, 6 main ones. So the first one is the government or the Education Ministry should implement or introduce an independent monitor to report directly to the minister. So while the system is live, someone who doesn't work with the placement team should monitor it directly and report it directly to the minister. Then they say they should audit the system before archiving the data. Now the committee found that right after the placement was done, the system deleted itself. So they didn't have any backup of the data to come back and verify who made changes when and where. Also, they said they should ensure strict transparency. So because the login codes. It's not everyone who has the login codes. Only a few people have the login codes. But the committee found that some people gave their login codes to different people, and different people could enter the system and change some placements. So according to the committee, there should be strict transparency to know who is entering the system and when. And also, the committee said the ministry should educate parents and students on placement criteria, because sometimes most of the issues come up from misunderstandings between parents and then the officials at GES. And finally, if there's any bribery case, that should be followed up with the police.
Okay. So very extensive, comprehensive recommendations there to deal with the lack of transparency, but also the corruption of the system. There, we need to establish whether or not the current administration, under the leadership of Aaron Adrisio, whether they are aware of the recommendations and whether or not they will simply implement that and maybe complement with additional investigations and recommendations. Thank you very much, Caleb. And I want to take you to some schools across the country, because in schools across the country today, parents and their wards are stuck in long queues waiting for hours to complete enrollment. This was a scene at Presec Legon. Well, some arrived there as early as 3 a.m. and from what we now understand, many are still stuck in that queue waiting to be attended to. Fred Smith joins us on the line right now, and he himself is there for us. And Fred, what can you report? Are the queues now being dealt with by the school authorities?
Yes, Evans, the queues have now been dealt with, but there are several queues. So it's the first queue I'm referring to. After going through the data capture, you now have to go and submit items that were requested by the school in the prospectus. That's a queue. Then another queue follows. You'd have to go to be assigned to a house. That's another long queue you have to go through. And once you navigate all of these, you now have to go and register in the house that you've been assigned. So that's a long one. I was here at 5 a.m. As I speak to Evans, my boy is now entering his assigned house.
Do we understand what really causes the delays? Because from the videos I've seen, they had police officers there. It got chaotic at some point. What was the problem? Were people crossing the queue?
Yes, there are lots of people coming in through protocol, and even though cheats had been given, so they bypassed that queue which had been formed, and these are the ones that's causing that. But Evans, parents were told to do the enrollment online, so when you come to the school, it's just going to be a matter of formality. But that's not the case. You'd have to go through the process all over again. And so the major one would be those coming through protocol.
And you filled out yours online?
Yes, I did mine online weeks ago, and we came in. It took us, we finished around 3 p.m. and then moved to the next stage of the enrollment. That took us about 2 hours, and then we moved to another 1 hour, and we're now registering. So as I speak to you, I'm still at Presec trying to get my boy a place to sleep.
I see. So it's taking you more than 12 hours to get it sorted today. Fred, thank you very much. On the ground there's for us at the Presec Legon. I want to take you to the Volta region where my colleague Ivy Setoji has been monitoring what has been happening there. Ivy, is it as chaotic as we've just heard Fred articulate?
Not as before. It's not chaotic. The process is now going smoothly, even though there are still queues. During the day, there were queues actually, but it's not chaotic. Actually, some parents were able to pull through. Some were able to register before bringing their wards to their various respective schools. So those parents who were able to do that, it was much more easier for them than you coming straight to the school to start the process all over again. And so I said that the school authorities in the region are appealing to parents to exercise patience, because the process will go through, and every child will be admitted to their various schools. At Mauli School, for example, the process is very smooth. They have anniversary this Saturday, so parents are going to go through the normal process, but officially students will go to school officially on Monday.
Ivy, thank you very much. Peter Partey is Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies and joins us on the line right now. There are two separate issues here. The Education Ministry's willingness to review the computerized school placement and selection system, and then we're now having challenges now that you crossed that hurdle. Getting your child enrolled is also pretty chaotic. Something needs to happen, Peter. Let's start with the ministry's willingness to review the computerized school placement system. From where you sit, what is fundamentally wrong with that system?
Ivan, thank you very much and good evening to your listeners. What I can say is that what is fundamentally wrong with the system are the same reasons why we introduced the computer placement in 2005. And that is what surprises me, because actually, when you use technology, you are supposed to be able to expedite certain things and then solve problems in that manner. But in 2025, the challenges of the school placement system still boils down to transparency, still boils down to corruption, still boils down to inequities and all those things that we mentioned, or that were the reasons why in 2005 we decided to introduce the computer placement system. And that is why I think that it is very good that the minister is hinting on a possible review.
Kofi Asari also joins me, Executive Director of Africa Education Watch. Kofi, must we overhaul the computerized placement system?
I think that the CSSPS have gone through some formative review in the past years. To be honest with you, I particularly didn't see any clear challenge that warranted a review until we discovered that this year we saw students being posted to schools that they did not select. We saw students being made day when they opted to be boarders. And we saw students being made to take programs they did not select. And the minister confirmed this at PSEC today. It means that something strange has happened. In the past, it wasn't so. In the past, at least in the past 4 years, the computer never placed anyone to a school they never chose. The computer never assigned a day or boarding status to one when that person did not choose same. And the computer also never would give you a program you did not choose. And so I think that it is more about sticking to what originally was there and working since 2000. Since 2020. I admit that there were some challenges with the computerized placement 2018, 2019. But this was solved. And that is where the resolution was made that the computer will never allow you to even select a school far from your junior high school, so that you can't select a school outside your district as they. We are having people selecting schools or people being placed in schools outside their district and regions as they. All this have been resolved post-2020. And I think that if we stick to what was there already, we shouldn't be having too many problems to deal with.
And Peter, you believe there's a lot wrong with the system as we have it now. What must change? What should this committee the minister has talked about, what should it focus on? Hello, Peter? Okay, I may have lost him there. Kofi, take that for me. If there's anything that must change, what must change?
I've touched on situation. We've had a situation whereby we have looked at the software system itself, as Kofi is alluding to. But I think that we need a complete auditing of the system, not only the software, but also the model of school selection that we have adopted as a country. I think I've made this point several times on other platforms that, for me, one of the biggest challenges of our system that we are implementing is using the anticipated model of selection, where students anticipate a certain performance, and based on that, they are made to select schools. And then when the results come and there is a discrepancy between anticipated performance and their real performance, they are found wanting. So I want to see a comprehensive review which would target the model of school selection itself, which will target the system, the software that has been used, and also look at other peripheral issues like sensitization, continuous education, and other things. It should be a comprehensive review. And I hope that that review will lead to a situation whereby in 2026, we will not have people massing up at various resolution centers and having various problems after the placements have been released.
Okay, and Kofi, what would you say must change once this committee gets to work?
Peter, that we need to do some reforms, but not directly on the CSSPS. I believe that the reform should center on allowing students to have access to their results before selecting their schools. You see, that the act of selecting one school is an important decision. One requires adequate information to undertake, and undertake well. And so if we are able to allow students to select their schools after they have an idea about their BEC results, and if you like their raw scores, then it will manage to a reasonable extent the expectations of candidates when it comes to selection of schools. I think that is one thing that we can do. But in terms of the CSSPS proper, I think that it's been going through various formative reviews. And so it may not be too urgent to have a comprehensive review if we revert to what was working as of 2024.
Kofi, thank you very much. Also, you had Peter Anti Pate, Executive Director of the Institute of Education Studies, and Kofi Asar, Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch. Still live here on News Studies on Joy 99.7 FM. And we can do some business now. And my colleagues joining me with the very latest. What you have in the headlines?
Hi, Evans. Coming up in business this evening, Finance Ministry reaffirms commitment to budget credibility as it engages more stakeholders ahead of the budget presentation in Parliament next month. And more oil marketing companies reduce fuel prices at the pumps, with petrol selling at 12 cedis 77 pesos and diesel going for 12 cedis 97 pesos. Business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all office essentials, Syntex tanks, and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal. Welcome back. My name is James Shen. We settle for the details now. The Ministry of Finance says it will continue to maintain a strong focus on budget credibility as part of effort to strengthen Ghana's fiscal management. Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Inyang-Kwampem said this at a stakeholder engagement meeting ahead of the budget, noting that government remains committed to ensuring that budget allocations and spending reflect realistic revenue targets and fiscal discipline.
More than 4 billion cedis for improved healthcare financing nationwide. And it is not just the allocation. One thing that the finance minister keeps focusing and hammering is that we must ensure budget credibility. So whatever we have allocated, you see, if you compare this year to previous years, you see that we have done so well in the releasing of funds as indicated in the budget. And so Get Fund has gotten so much, health insurance has gotten so much as per what we indicated in the budget. So under social protection, you see that Get Fund so far has received in excess of 4 billion.
And that was Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Inyang-Kwampem. Now, a financial expert is projecting an increase in investor confidence in the final quarter of 2025. This follows the government failure to meet its Treasury bills target, recording a significant 55% under subscription, the largest shortfall so far this year. Head of Finance at Mensah Capital, Nelson Kwagbeji, made this observation in an interview with Joy Business.
Don't forget that inflation is at 9.4%, single digit, and so even the 10.70% for the 91-day Treasury bill is higher than inflation, and so we will continue to have this mixed reaction and mixed sentiment from investors regarding the Treasury operations of the government. However, we expect that getting to the end of the year, most of the institutional investors will bounce back, and that the under-subscription that government is currently registering will be turned into over-subscriptions.
Nelson Kwagbeji is the head of finance at Mensah Capital. Now, more oil marketing companies are reducing prices of petroleum products at the pumps. This is in line with industry's projection of prices going down by more than 4% per litre. More in the following Business Desk report.
Market leader Star Oil is this morning selling a litre of petrol at 12 cedis 77 pesos from the old price of 13 cedis 17 pesos per litre. That of diesel has been reduced from 13 cedis 45 pesos per litre to 12 cedis 97 pesos. Second major player, Guel, has also reduced prices at the pumps. Petrol is going for 12 cedis 98 pesos, while diesel is selling at 13 cedis 85 pesos. More of the oil marketing companies have told Joy Business that they will move to reduce their prices this week. The reduction for this pricing window has been influenced by cedi's appreciation and declining prices of finished petroleum and that of crude oil. The move, according to the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, could go a long way to force transport operators to back down on their push for increase in fares.
And that was a Business Desk report. Now, Blochem Industries, producers of Bell Beverages, has officially introduced a new product, Bell Cola Zero, to the Ghanaian market. Head of marketing at Blochem Industries, Magnus Day, said the new beverage is a direct response to requests from loyal customers who are increasingly health conscious. He made these remarks at the launch of the product at Accra Mall.
We realized that over the years, some loyal fans have started requesting alternatives or versions of the Bell Cola that can meet their fitness or lifestyle goals. And some of these people are calorie watchers, weight-conscious people, fitness enthusiasts, some people living with diabetes, but the majority are the youthful young people who go to party and want to gallop as much cola into their body, but without the feeling of guilt or the compromise.
Magnus Day as head of marketing at Blochem Industries. And then the business news on Newsnight with me, James Ishen. Danny.
James, thank you very much. Let's do some sports now. And the day after Manchester United won against Liverpool, and you are a Manchester United supporter as well.
Yeah, in a very good mood.
A very good mood today, actually. I wore my red today, and my colleagues were jealous. And so I took it off for a second. I'm going to wear it back when I return.
Yeah, you should.
What do you have in the headlines tonight?
Let's do some women's football news. And Ghana's under-20 women's national team, the Black Princesses, they are yet to receive their per diems from their last FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifying matches against Tunisia. The Princesses secured an emphatic 4-0 aggregate victory over the North Africans to advance to the next round of qualifiers. However, despite their impressive show in the players and technical team members remain unpaid for their efforts. Earlier this month, the Minister for Sports and Recreation acknowledged the delay and assured that the payments will be processed soon. But weeks on, the team is still awaiting the funds. Despite assurances from the technical director of the ministry, the allowances and per diems have been paid. Members of the play are still yet to receive their funds. And still with some women's football, Ghana's Black Queens as a senior national team, they will face England in a friendly game on December 2 as they continue to prepare for next year's Women's AFCON qualifiers. That game will be played in England, and technical advisor to the Ministry of Sports and Recreation, Betty Crosby Mensah, says the fact that England even accepted to face Ghana shows the strength and growth of the Black Queens.
I'm sure you are very much aware that continuously England is the world champions when it comes to the world women football. And so, which other team again? They have won continuously 2 times, and currently they are the world champion. And so they are the best, in fact, in the system that our girls could compete to. For England to even accept to have this friendly, it shows the confidence and the skills they think the Ghanaian team or the Ghanaian women national team have. And so they welcome us to have that friendly with them. And I believe that we are going to excel. We are not just going there to, play, but we're going to perform to prove to the whole world that if we can fight and play against England, then every other team, every other nationality is below our limits.
Betty Crosby Mensah is the technical director of the Ministry of Sports and Recreation. Bringing an end to sports. Back to you, Vance.
Quentin, thank you very much. So live your Newsnight is on Joy 99.7 FM. A few of your messages on our WhatsApp console. This one has no name. Says a particular school in Akachi South takes between 500 and 1,000 CDs when one wants to change placement for his ward. He says he's a concerned citizen. Francis in Accra says, so let us ask ourselves as Ghanaians with the issues we are hearing about with our water treatment plants across the country. The 8 years the MPP was in power, what did they do before we all now asking and asking for more, he says. Moses says it's fair to raise concerns about the fight against Galamsey, but we must also acknowledge the unprecedented approach that this government has adopted. Baba chairman says the two paper tigers, AG and OSP, are clashing over the issue of the former finance minister. If the OSP is engaged in immediate trial of former government appointees just to court public sympathy, failure would certainly be the end product. Those are a few of your views on our WhatsApp console. Now, government says special courts will be designated to handle cases arising from audit infractions captured in the Auditor General's report. Now, these will include the enforcement of surcharges and disallowances, as well as the prosecution of related criminal offences. This follows a meeting between the President, the Chief Justice, the Attorney General, and the Auditor General to discuss ways of strengthening the enforcement of findings contained in the Auditor General reports. And as you may recall, the President very recently had asked for this particular meeting.
When you leave office, you must be able to hold your head high. Wake up in the morning and not fear that anybody will call you to come and account for anything, because you did things the way you should have done them. Recently, I've been watching the Public Accounts Committee, and it's so pathetic. You know, why must we every year congregate at the Public Accounts Committee, and then you hear all kinds of atrocious, things. I mean, recklessness with public funds and resources. And so I have a meeting on Thursday with the Chief Justice, the Attorney General, and others to find a final solution to this Auditor General's report, that persons who are found guilty of infractions or do not follow due procedure or lead to loss of public resources, we must have a fast-track process to Nsawam, Fast track before you see you in Nsawam, 6 months. Until we do that, until there's a deterrent, we're going to come every year and they say total misappropriation and infractions of found out by the Auditor General is about 15 billion cedis. I mean, if we save 15 billion cedis, can you imagine what it could do? And so we're going to have a meeting, we're going to brainstorm. We've not fully implemented the constitutional provision. There's a part of the provision that says after the Public Accounts Committee has sat on the Auditor General's report, Parliament must set up a committee. What we don't know is whether it should be a parliamentary committee or it's a committee not necessarily made of parliamentarians to implement the findings of the Auditor General.
Let's speak to former Auditor General Daniel Demelevo, who joins us right now. Mr. Demelevo, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. Will the special courts make a difference?
Thank you very much, and good evening to you and your viewers as well as listeners. I think it will make a lot of difference, and I would like to congratulate the President for this move. And I'm also happy that the Chief Justice, the Attorney General, and the Auditor General, they are all on board. This is unprecedented. We have never had this opportunity before. So this is the best time that the Auditor General should disallow and surcharge people, holding them accountable for misuse of public funds or resources.
But the first recourse is to the Public Accounts Committee, though, right? I mean, that process still remains. At what point, then, do you reckon the courts will then step in?
The Constitution does not require the Auditor General to go to the Public Accounts Committee before holding people accountable. If you read Clause 7 of Article 187, it says, in the performance of his functions under this Constitution and any other law, the Auditor General may disallow and surcharge. So the disallowance and surcharge does not need to wait for public accounts hearing. In my view, actually, if the Auditor General steps out this disallowance and surcharge, then the issues that will go to the Public Accounts Committee will be internal control issues how to strengthen controls around use of public funds, said that leakages may come to an end instead of the individual embezzlement cases, which I think waste the time of Public Accounts Committee and all of us watching TV, holding somebody accountable on TV for 5,000,
and that is what the president is talking about, beyond the surcharge and disallowance. He's talking about the criminal prosecution, hence the special courts. So that comes back to the question, at which point then do you hand that over to the courts? Can you circumvent the Public Accounts Committee and go straight to the courts?
It's not circumventing the Public Accounts Committee. The Public Accounts Committee will receive the Auditor General's report at the end. But the Constitution allows the Auditor General in the course of the audit to disallow and surcharge. And in case the Auditor General finds any criminal offense, he passes that on to the Attorney General for prosecution. So what goes to the public accounts basically are internal control violations, not individual abuses.
And that is a very important clarification. What you're saying is, in the course of investigations, if the Auditor General finds something that borders on embezzlement, for example, waste of public resources, that Auditor General can then refer that to the Attorney General for further investigations and possible prosecution, even before he completes his work and hands it to the Public Accounts Committee.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, because if you read Article 1877, it says in the performance of his functions, he may hold people accountable by disallowing and surcharge. And I'm saying that if in the course of surcharging or disallowing any expenditure, it is also bordering on criminality, then nothing stops the Auditor General from forwarding that to the Attorney General. So the Public Accounts Committee does not need to hear of 10,000, 1 million, 2 million issues before it goes for disallowance and surcharge. But let me say quickly, if you will allow me to say that this is a good move, but we need to immediately also pass some legislations so to make the system watertight. One, to introduce a time limit on the prosecution. Otherwise, these criminal cases are going to be in court forever. So we should introduce a time limit for prosecuting corruption and corruption-related cases, including the findings of the Auditor General, said that people will not be doing in-hearing appeals. You wait till there's a determination of the court by the court, and you appeal instead of taking one case, go to the Supreme Court or a Court of Appeal, etc. If we do those things and we produce and we change the laws on internal auditing also to make the internal auditors more independent, so that their infractions can reach the Auditor General quickly, I think we may be making good progress.
Thank you very much. Daniel Demelovo is a former Auditor General, and that's it for News Night tonight. And just before we go, I'm pretty sure most of you have been following the National Science and Maths Quiz, and let me give you a quick update of crashing out at the 1-8 stage to Keta SHTS. In 2024, Kumasi Academy returned to the NSMQ today. They returned with a bang and they won their first preliminary competition. And congratulations to them. They go to the next stage now. We're giving you all the latest on our many social media platforms. Follow us for details. Enjoy the rest of your evening.